Drake's legal team is celebrating a preliminary win. A federal judge has ruled the entertainer's attorneys can have access to Kendrick Lamar's contract and other sensitive information.
What's good, fam? I'm back again, and let me tell y'all, I've been watching Drake's situation for a minute now, and it just keeps getting more complicated. A while ago, folks thought maybe after dropping that Nokia single, Drake would calm down the heat around him, maybe flip the script. But now we keep seeing new interviews from cats like DJ Akademics and Baka Not Nice that only make Drake look more suspect.
It's Willie DeFro. Say, Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1.
At this point, it's like every time OVO tries to defend him, they slip up, dropping details that show just how shaky Drake's entire brand might be. And the wild part, Kendrick Lamar barely has to do anything. OVO basically doing the work themselves, confirming all the questionable stuff people suspected in the first place.
Drake is accusing UMG of spreading false and malicious narrative about him. Right now, as I said, he's not suing Kendrick Lamar directly, but could he end up being brought into this lawsuit?
Let's break it down. We got Ak mentioning hush money vibes, Baka rehashing his shady record. Instead of hushing up controversies, OVO is basically taking L's each time they speak. If you wonder why folks keep saying Drake's circle is the biggest threat to his career, you about to see all the reasons.
Oh, it depends on what your definition of be brought into this lawsuit is. Could Kendrick be brought into the lawsuit as a witness, someone who testifies about a conversation that occurred based on what they found in the evidence or the discovery process that they're going through now? Yes. I think Drake is focused on UMG.
Strap in, because we going deep into how this entire drama got cranked up even more and how Drake might be stuck in a downward spiral if he can't get his people to stay quiet.
The ruling's part of Drake's defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group. Though Lamar is not a defendant himself in the case, it centers around the distribution and promotion of the song Not Like Us.
Why you trolling like a ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
They not like us.
No.
They not like us.
No.
They not like us.
Where I come from, like, that shit doesn't happen. Like, you can't just call out a man and not have paperwork to back up your talks. Like, that is it's ludicrous.
Before we talk about these new interviews, let's recall the bigger picture. For months, folks been side-eyeing Drake's moves. Ever since Kendrick Lamar dropped those savage disses, the conversation shifted from Drake's unstoppable on the charts to is Drake a manipulator who uses questionable tactics behind closed doors?
Contributor Brian Buckmeyer to unpack this latest part of their feud. So, Brian, why do Drake's lawyers want this information about Kendrick's contract and also about salaries and bonuses for senior executives?
Drake tried to paint himself as the guy who got done dirty by the industry. He claimed everyone turned on him for no reason, but all that talk didn't fix the skepticism. Instead, each new attempt at defending himself led to more leaks about his personal life or stories from people close to him that suggested he's not as clean as he claims.
But what if it's not? What if it's none? That's going to make you look crazy.
Yeah, we talked about
ain't even no foul play, nothing going on.
It's like a baseball player looking for steroids and you're like, oh, it's the same stuff I've been using. whether you know you was using it or not.
That's the environment Drake found himself in. He drops Nokia, thinking it might overshadow the negativity, but it just didn't stick. People might have streamed it for a week or so, then went back to asking, okay, but what about all these rumors of hush deals or shady behind the scenes business? When OVO realized the single wasn't killing the noise, they decided to do a wave of interviews. Problem is, those interviews ended up feeding the speculation instead of killing it.
What are they gonna find out?
I think what they trying to go in and find out is like any wrongdoing of the machine making and all that stuff.
That wrong. If it's wrongdoing, then it's typical record industry practices that have been going on since the beginning of time. That people like Drake have benefited from, that people like Kendrick have benefited from, that all of their artists benefit from.
Now we're here, watching Drake's name get battered from inside his own circle. First up, DJ Akademics. We know him as Drake's main hype man in the media, always jumping in to defend Drizzy whenever conflict arises. But in a convo with Vlad, AK started trying to flex, saying Drake never faced serious accusations. So that means he must be squeaky clean.
How is it for you to hear all the noise that people were saying, right? People were just talking about stuff that they don't even know about, saying, oh, Ray, this, whatever. Yeah. How did you keep your composure and stay calm?
Vlad wasn't buying it, mentioning he heard weird things about Drake's private scene in Hidden Hills. Instead of Ak handling that smooth, he basically half admitted Drake might have used hush money or NDAs to stop folks from speaking on what goes down there. That was a huge slip.
And then like to see like a whole nation behind it and celebrating it like it's a true story is unbelievable, because you know everybody has to understand, like I have a kid, Drake has a kid, you know what I mean? So like
imagine being the biggest Drake supporter, the one who's supposed to calm the rumors, and you end up confirming hush money deals might be real. Fans listen to you like, hold on, that lines up exactly with what some of these rumors said. So the question is, if Aka of all people sees hush money as normal for Drake, what else is the label hiding? It's not a good look for Drake, who's trying to present himself as someone who got unfairly targeted.
No, but to Jess's point, we talked about this on the podcast yesterday, the latest with Lauren LaRosa. I said that if there's nothing found, he just looks like a crybaby. It just looks like, you know what I mean? But if there is things found, and it can be something small, like it could be one employee that happened to maybe send a Uber or send a gift or something that can.
If hush deals exist, maybe there's more that's not so innocent. Some folks tried to defend Ak, saying he only gave a hypothetical, but the damage was done. People see it as Ak basically confirming that hush deals are standard operating procedure in Drake's circle. That's a big L if you ask me, especially after all that talk from Drake about how he's misunderstood.
I mean, because you have certain rules.
Think Kendrick Lamar getting an Uber?
No, I just mean like there's certain a big one, not the little. There are certain rules around like bribery and I'm sure I don't know all the rules when it comes to radio, but I know like.
But that's not going to be in a contract.
Hush money screams, I'm hiding something, and fans are quick to connect that with the lines Kendrick dropped saying Drake manipulates situations behind the scenes. Then we got Baka Not Nice, who's been by Drake's side for ages. If you know Baka's backstory, you know it's not the cleanest. But apparently, Ovo thought he'd help patch up Drake's image by talking publicly. Big mistake, because he ended up confirming some negative perceptions folks had about OVO's inner workings. Baka tried to say he was personally offended by lines about him in certain dices, but that he almost recorded a track in response till Drake told him to stand down.
And the sad thing about it is
it's not going to be in the contract.
It's not just contracts, though.
You're stupid.
It's not just contracts.
But if you look at a judge, does the judge know exactly about the music industry to see what he's giving permission for?
So basically, he's claiming he wanted to drop a diss, but nobody took him seriously enough to fear it. But the real kicker, Baka insisted nobody can call him out without official paperwork showing he's guilty of anything. Meanwhile, the man's got a known record. That mismatch is hilarious because it shows Baka ignoring well-documented incidents while trying to act like he's squeaky clean.
Like giving up Kendrick's contract, and I don't know what's in Kendrick's contract, but giving up how much money he's making and the money that's spent, that's nobody's business but Kendrick and his label.
That doesn't help Drake's case. It actually reminds fans that the OVO circle includes dudes with questionable backgrounds. If Drake's out here saying he's morally upright, then why is he so tight with people who appear to have serious issues on file? Now, I get loyalty. Baka's been around Drake from the jump. But if the point is to make Drake look better, mentioning your rap sheet and how you almost dissed Kendrick doesn't do it.
Like, why would that want to go to somebody else?
But
you know
that's
what I mean?
only one part of it. And I think once we see which contracts they pull and which information they focus on, we can kind of better understand, why they did that.
People walk away thinking, man, Drake's circle is exactly what Kendrick said it was: shady, weird, and full of questionable moves. Another L for Drake, courtesy of his own crew. All this chatter from Ak and Baka essentially lines up with the stuff Kendrick Lamar said in his dices. He pointed out that Drake's facade is a front, that the folks around him are shady, and that they rely on behind-the-scenes intimidation or hush tactics.
Another part of it was, remember they talked about the bots or whatever, that they alleged that Kendrick was
If you're a fan who doubted Kendrick, you might be reevaluating after seeing these interviews, because Drake's top media ally basically accepted hush money as normal, and Drake's own day one homie is out here with a track record he's not addressing properly.
The same bots that have been used for all artists. All Drake is going to expose is secrets that have helped him too. And I don't even know if they're secrets, to be honest with you. Are they secrets?
Kendrick doesn't even need to keep dropping lines about Drake. OVO's own statements are doing the job for him. Each time they speak, they reveal more about how Drake's label operates. Instead of hushing the rumors, they're adding fuel to the speculation. There's one thing we know about rumors, is that they blow up the minute you confirm even a piece of them. Drake's meltdown might not be the right word to use, but let's just say his downfall is picking up steam with every OVO slip.
Or is that just standard record business practices at this point?
I thought it was standard record business practices.
All of this stuff, the bots, everything that we talking about.
The bots don't matter no more because Drake's team yesterday in court said that they've exchanged some, letters back and forth, and they're withdrawing those claims.
So how does this shape Drake's next moves? For one, it's tough to keep pushing a narrative that you're some victim when your closest affiliates keep dropping questionable info. If hush deals are real, fans wonder, what else is Drake hiding? If you got Baka bragging about not needing to answer the rumors, people think, so is OVO basically ignoring real evidence? That all undercuts Drake's brand further. He can't just drop a single or do a big collab and hope we forget.
They're going to focus on other stuff. They really are trying to, I think, figure out the bigger picture of this. Is like the money that was put into bigger things, not a few random.
But that's what they're looking for.
But
the money that's put into Spotify.
The conversation always circles back to these suspicious statements. We also got to think about how other artists react. We know Drake thrives on linking up with new acts to keep his music fresh. But if folks see that OVO is a nest of hush deals and questionable personalities, they might not want that association. Even established stars could second guess doing a record with Drake if they worry about the blowback from fans who see him as manipulative or shady. That's a major blow for Drake's longevity, since his formula often depends on riding the wave of younger or hype artists. The biggest winner in all this is obviously Kendrick. He delivered disses a while ago that basically predicted Drake's circle would confirm every bad rumor. Now that's exactly what's happening. He doesn't have to drop a new track or keep the heat on Drake. OVO's doing it themselves. If Drake was hoping to come out the other side looking like a champion, these interviews are sabotage. By the time Drake tries to patch things up, the anti-Drake sentiment will be so strong, it might overshadow any music he releases. It's a quiet advantage because Kendrick doesn't need to say, "Told you so." The fans see it. They see Aki mention hush deals. Baka talk about how he's not guilty of anything despite his record. And it lines up with every line Kendrick spit about OVO being full of creeps. That's a brutal situation for Drake. Your biggest foe doesn't even have to do more, and your own crew is burying your image deeper. Hard to come back from that. If OVO was smart, they might muzzle these guys from doing more interviews. But that can also backfire, because then people say, why'd you silence them? Are they about to spill bigger secrets? Alternatively, OVO could let them keep talking, but we've seen how that's going. It's more harm than good. There's also the approach of Drake himself, addressing the hush money talk or Baka's past. But is that likely? Drake usually tries to maintain a polished image, so opening up about hush deals or shady homies might ruin that. So we're left with a cycle of OVO people slipping up, the public reacting, and Drake looking more suspicious. Eventually, fans may just write Drake off as a guy who's not what he claims. That doesn't mean he stops selling records, but it does mean the culture might shift away from him, seeing him as less credible. That could push him more into pop territory, away from hip-hop's respect. If that's the route, it's a big L for someone who once called himself the best in rap. So that's where we stand. Drake's label affiliates keep dropping hints about hush deals, suspicious behavior, and a general disregard for honesty. Instead of saving Drake's image, they're helping confirm what Kendrick said all along, that Drake's brand isn't built on trust or authenticity, but on manipulation and cover-ups. And ironically, each new attempt to rescue Drake from negativity only makes people more convinced there's something to all these rumors. The question is, can Drake pull off a miracle turnaround, or is he stuck in a loop where OVO's own people sabotage him every time they speak? If this wave keeps up, fans might see Drake as the exact guy Kendrick rapped about, a man whose circle is full of questionable individuals and who needs hush money to keep folks quiet. Hard to keep calling yourself the top dog in rap when the biggest talk around you is your affiliates exposing your secrets. That's it for me. Let me know in the comments how you see Drake's next steps. Is there a chance he can muzzle these interviews and drop some heat that overshadows it all? Or are we watching the end of Drake's rep as we know it? Hit that like if you're fed up with OVO's nonsense. Subscribe for more real talk on the rap game. And remember, sometimes the biggest L's come from your own squad. Peace.